Hello, we are Nerds of the West, and today we are talking about Ark Nova with the Marine Worlds expansion. We have played a lot of Ark Nova here. I've won over 50 games on Boardgame Arena. We've played 3 games just in the last week. You and I currently have a game going. We've played it on the table a bunch of times. Yeah. It's a huge game. There's a lot to consider. And so we're going to review it. We're going to give you our thoughts. And at the end, we're going to rank it on our Nerds of the West ranking list. We have just reset it for 2024. We rank games here not based on an objective 1 to 10, but just if given the opportunity, what we personally would prefer to play. That lets us take into account things like if we enjoy this kind of game, rather than if we think it's good at it, or playtime, setup time, table space, all those little things that matter. Speaking of little things that matter, we have a Sean.
Hey, Octopi.
And we have a Callum.
How we doing?
Guys, straight out of the gate, let's get right into it. Is this a good expansion? Does this make it better than the base game, or does it add too much?
That was something that I was actually thinking a lot about this playthrough. Is it adding too much? That was the main thing. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see one thing that I really kind of wanted to see, but I'm kind of lucky because I played this separately, not on stream, and I have seen it. But my answer to your question is no, it is a good expansion. It adds more. It allows you to do more. It doesn't overcomplicate it. I really dig it.
Going on from what Sean said, so even though we didn't get to see the ocean come up, I think that's a good indicator to say they haven't added the expansion to go, this is the new game, it's going to be surfing all over. It's now, here's this thing that can happen. It's not overpowering, but it's like an additional thing that can go on. Yep. Given that we didn't see it, I think that speaks volumes as to like it's not overpowering. It's not overpowering.
So why I wanted to ask that question straight away was, this expansion does add a lot. We have a whole new kind of creature in Sea Animals with a whole new kind of enclosure to put them in that can be built from the start. You don't have to wait for the upgraded build action. There is a whole lot of new cards. We saw cards that would let you mark cards to save them for yourself or reward you if someone else took them. Ran out of breath. There are lots of little additions, like a whole new university that can aid you in doing animal type sponsors, which is amazing. So often the particular country ones are so powerful, and you have people fighting over those, and people get left behind because they can't all get the ones they want. This way, if there's both an animal and a continent one, people have different options to go down. And then just little things like this little token, if you max out on the reputation track, giving you a bonus for doing that. There's like lots of little things. But my favorite thing, the biggest thing that it added was the variable player cards. Yeah. The variable cards that you use to do all your actions. You suddenly have additional little choices, both at the start of the game, where you draft them and choose which ones you want. You keep 2 of the 3 that you draft. But also all throughout the game, it's like, all right, now sponsors might be stronger than I'm normally used to because I can get them more easily if I have this card. And there's a lot of variability in those cards. How did you guys find those cards? Does that add enough just on its own? Or is it just a nice little bonus?
No, I like them. I like the extra cards, the symmetry between each of you. Like, my animal's action might be super powerful. You might have chosen an animal action, but your sponsor's action is super powerful. So I like that difference because something that's big in the base game is that if you're paying attention to where certain cards are for your opponents, you can obviously get more of an idea of what they're most likely going to be doing, whereas this makes their actions different to yours, so you can't quite tell that, which is something I like because it means there's more variety to the actual turn structure and when breaks are going to happen, all that sort of stuff. So it's a little bit less predictable as the game goes along, which is something I like.
Speaking of predictability,
so I agree with like adding these cards adds that extra level of like not complexity but versatility that you can play throughout the game. So I know the cards are one thing, but tell me if we're coming back to this later, but I don't think it takes too far away by adding the extra components. Just talking about the cards, any game that lets you kind of like have your intro level of everyone's got the same thing. Same thing with the maps that we had. Intro level of everyone's got the same thing. Flip it over and go, okay, now everyone has their own version of getting to the same common goal. Like that's great in any game.
Unfortunately, not that I don't think they're good, I think I got either a combination that was a little bit too powerful, which is the problem with variable game states, is sometimes you just get that perfect one. or it was just exactly how I like to play this game, which is when in doubt, draw cards to find something to work towards the conservation projects, and then do the conservation projects at level 5 as often as possible. And for me, that usually means banking up X tokens to try and then like pop 2 of them right at the end. My card, if we want to show this one off, let me do association actions cheaper.
Yeah.
I could basically pop a level 5 association action once, almost guaranteed twice a turn, or almost guaranteed that I do it every single round. And it just meant that for this game where you have to focus on conservation, it was just so much easier.
Yeah. Because getting yourself up this track earlier, A, gives you first choice of benefits.
Yeah.
B, comes closer to ending the game faster, which is what Sean and I ran into. Is I spent too long building up my zoo without actually getting anything on those cards, and it showed at the end where I'm, a good 1, 2, 3, like 15 association points behind.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I would have to play this a lot more to find out if it is balanced that way. The other side of it is I just really like this game. I've played this so much. I adore playing it on Boardgame Arena. I also adore playing it on Boardgame Arena because you can play a game in less than an hour.
Yeah.
This took us close to 4 hours today.
Yeah.
We play on stream. We stream this live. It takes a little bit longer because we talk to people, talk through our turns. This is easily a 3-hour game with like half-hour setup, which is a lot.
Yeah.
You're the one who added all the expansion stuff. Does it change the setup too much to really adjust it?
Not really. No. I think the thing that really adds a little bit extra time is that there is a bit of a drafting thing that you do before with the new action cards. I'm not too fussed about that really, because something that I would like to include in my own house rules is, when you start with 8 cards to begin with, drafting those would be helpful, because then you just get off to that better start. Like for me, this game, I felt like I was a little bit hamstrung because a couple of my cards were beneficial to me if I got them out early.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make them work. And maybe that was just because the way I played wasn't optimal. But if I had a little bit more selection, maybe I could have picked a better starting set, which would have allowed me to just get that faster jump, which would have meant that Tom might have been held back a little bit with his faster start, all that sort of stuff. So if it's introducing a draft, I don't mind, because I think from now on I want to try out a house rule draft of your starting hand first as well.
I almost feel like you'd have to start with more cards that way. Like 8 cards and drafting to only keep 4 could end up with too few, but I'm definitely keen to give that a shot at
just to give it a shot to see what happens. I know it's like something completely out of the rules. It's like a house rule. It probably shouldn't affect the way we look at reviewing it.
It's interesting as well, because you kind of have 2 ways to draft in that case when you're passing. You start with 8 cards. You either do the draft and bin one and then pass the remainder, or you do just the standard draft and everyone takes from what's left over. I feel like in this game, nailing back on what you mentioned at first, is if you did a draft and bin, you're just going to be stuck in the same spot as you were at the beginning of, not having many choices left to play the game, versus they start with 10 cards, draft, pass 9 on, and then you just toss 6 at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's probably a better way to draft.
Is there anything you didn't like about the expansion before we go into is it better than the base game and where we rank it on our board?
So for me, there's 2 main things. So there's 2 types of people that might enjoy this game. Type 1 is if you liked a game where everyone can really do their own thing and not interact with each other much, I feel like this expansion adds well to that, because it's added enough cards that everyone is completely separate on what they're doing. Without the expansion, there's a few more little bits of 2 people are going for the same thing at once. So if you like
and if you don't draw the cards or you get the cards stolen from you, your game's over.
So if you like a game where everyone's like Euro style but still at each other's throats, I need to get to that thing first, because if I don't, someone else will take it. No expansion for you. The base game is better to be like at each other the whole game. If you like a game pure Euro style where everyone does their own thing, and if someone happens to get in your way, it's just how the game works. Add the expansion in, because there's more versatility, extra types of enclosures, extra types of animals, extra triggers off animals. It really keeps everyone doing their own thing for most of the game.
Yeah. The one thing, sorry, did you have something you didn't like?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to add on to that, so that's, I think, primarily, from what I've read from comments from other people, and I think even the developers and stuff have said that that's why they made this expansion, was to expand upon the amount of cards you can get and make the player feel like they're not stop them from feeling like they can't get what they need. Everybody's playing their own game. You have enough opportunity now with this expansion to get the cards you need.
It's not a 3-hour game if you just do nothing.
If you're getting nothing that you can use, then you're just stuck, right? So, and I mean, that is the primary function of the wave, which gets rid of cards out of the display.
Yeah, we just didn't see. Like, it just didn't happen in this game because people drew all the wave cards. And the wave, if you are unfamiliar with it, when a wave creature comes out, you clear away the lowest creature, and you do that again. You get more cards coming through the market, which is exactly what this game needed.
And it snowballs on itself. So I've played this separately from stream, and I did see the wave in action. And yeah, you play it out, you get a wave, it knocks the first one on the row out, you slide them down. If the next one comes out of the wave, you do the same thing, and you keep going until you don't get
Which is a really elegant way to enhance the game without making card draw too powerful, because you still need to spend your card draw to take these, or to, in the early game, snap a card to get what you need. Whereas if they just buffed card draw, you could still end up with that same variability. This way, it's out in the open, everything's there for everyone. I love it. It's great. It's great.
Personally, I feel like the only way to improve on what's going on there, to cycle the market more, is I don't know if it's house rule or actual rule when misreading the rules, but when you take a card from the pile, nothing's sliding down. I feel like if it was sliding down as you took it, you're getting that market cycling a bit more. Because
that's true.
For most of the game, this market did stay stale until we ended we had a break, and then it cycled through.
But that was because we didn't see the wave. So that would have happened a lot more. But yeah, that's, I think, the reason why they ended up doing the wave thing and not making it refresh as you take the cards, because it's kind of meant to be like on your turn, you have this selection of these.
I feel like a combination of both. With the lack of seeing the wave, obviously it's my first game with the expansion. I don't know how often the wave's actually meant to come out, because you guys had
it adds 70 new cards. Not all of them are going to have the wave, but
what's in the existing deck?
150.
Yeah, so 220 cards total. So 70 new cards. Let's assume 50 of them have a wave. So you're now adding basically 1/5 of the deck is going to cycle through. So 1 in every 5 cards will have a wave. I feel like it wouldn't be a deficit, and I would like to see how it would work with cycling the cards as you draw them. But of course, I would need to play more games first to establish if that's...
It would also make marking cards so much more powerful. So that new mechanic, which is really cool. You mark an animal, and then if it falls off the edge from getting a wave or thing, you get that card. Yeah. If someone else takes it, or even if you take it, if it disappears from the market in any other way, you get money.
How did you guys mark cards? Was that...
I had a sponsor that let me do it. Sean's new card
that allowed me to do it. So that's a really cool thing with that, is that you go, oh cool, I want this, done my turn. If someone grabs it, I get some money, cool. But if it gets knocked off because the wave just washes through and gets rid of all these cards and it ends up falling off the end, you get it anyway. So you don't lose it, which is great.
I would love to see, I'd love to play more games with the expansion to basically fine-tune whether or not the thoughts I've had would be better adding to the game over the base game rules. Because obviously developers have played the game more than I've played it, and if they find that this is good enough on a random basis, then I might say that.
So to answer your question, if there's anything I don't like about it, no, not at this point. I think a few more playthroughs, just in case, but I think at this point I'm pretty confident to say it's a good expansion all around.
Well, let's grab the Nerds ranking list. As I said, this is us ranking a game based on what we personally would prefer to play. Everything about a game taken into account. I personally, and I think I'm pretty open in saying this, absolutely 100% could never go back to the base game. Everything about the expansion makes it better, so it goes above Ark Nova. For me, the playtime just knocks it down that little bit. I love it. I love playing the longer game, but more and more now I'm finding that a 40-minute, hour-long game is just that little bit better, easier to get to the table, and a little bit more fun. I love burning my brain. Not everyone does. So I can't put it above Planet Unknown or Archaeos Society. Still a banger 9 out of 10 game, but yeah, can't. For that reason alone.
Before you go, Callum, I'm just going to agree with everything Tom said. I got nothing more to add. That's exactly how I would put it. So I would go the exact same spot.
It's hard. So I think it's like ever so slightly worse than regular Ark Nova. So like if we say Ark Nova is a 9.5, I would put Arc Nova with expansion at 9.4. I love the new cards. I love these stuff being able to add it. I think adding the extra types of enclosures and the extra types of animals that can go between them is a little bit, like, not too much complexity, but it's got a little bit too much diversity for my liking.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Still sit to slap this bad boy above Arc Nova for now. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Join us on twitch.tv/Nerds of the West or here live on YouTube in the future to see other games that we talk about, review, play, just hang out and have fun. Any final words from anyone?
No.
They can just be goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it.
Until next time.
We've been Nerds of the West, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
See ya.